A House Oversight Committee report claims Trump administration officials made, quote, deliberate efforts to undermine the nation's coronavirus response for political purposes. CNN's Sunlen Servati just got her hands on this report. Sunlen, I know you're pouring through it right now, but give us the top lines you've seen so far.
Yeah, John, this is so far a very damning report of how the Trump administration handled their COVID response. This is a report from the House Oversight Committee. They conducted months and months of interviews with former Trump administration officials who were there during the pandemic response. And this report out of the committee concludes that, quote, Trump administration officials engaged in a staggering pattern of political interference in the pandemic response and failed to heed early warnings about the looming crisis. These decisions placed countless Americans' lives at risk, undermined the nation's public health institutions, and contributed to one of the worst failures of leadership in American history. And the report cites, according to the committee, many powerful anecdotes that they say they gathered over the course of the administration's response, including Trump administration officials, they say, blocking numerous officials from speaking publicly about the state of the pandemic. In one case, the report cites that Trump was so angered by a briefing that he blocked CDC officials from briefing the public for 3 months. Another anecdote, again, that the committee states in this report said that another official wanted to hold a briefing about recommendations to wear face masks and also brief about the status of deaths and cases among pediatric cases, and that Trump specifically blocked that request. This report also really does shine a light on kind of the agony that many of these Trump officials were facing, that they were concerned and frustrated on the directive that they were receiving. Dr. Jay Butler, who was then deputy director for the infectious diseases of the CDC, he says that he was directed in May 2020 to put an updated guidance about faith community. And he says, according to the committee, he told the committee, quote, I was doing a lot of soul searching about whether or not I should have even agreed to make changes in the document. Checking, it was a directive, but that was a real struggle, as I felt like they had been done, that what had been done was not good public health practice. And in another case, Dr. Debbie Birx, who of course was the head of the COVID response force, she said that she specifically wanted to sit out a meeting at the White House because she said that there were fringe doctors included in that meeting lineup. So all of this, again, painting a very concerning picture of what was going on in the early days of the pandemic. Now, notably, CNN has, of course, reached out to the parties that were named in this committee document and report, and we have not independently yet confirmed these allegations. John?
All right, Sunlen Servati, dig back into that report. Let us know what you learned. There is so much in there.
Thanks.
Joining us now, John King, CNN's chief national correspondent and anchor of Inside Politics. John, we're getting our first look at this. It's in line, I think, with some of the things that we knew about before, but to hear things like the CDC not allowed to brief the public for 3 months because the president didn't sort of like the political implications of it, it's just at this stage, after 800,000 Americans dead, it's just so disheartening.
It's depressing, and it's alarming, and it's a warning sign. Remember, we're at 15 cases. We'll soon be down to 0. That was the former president of the United States deliberately miscommunicating to the American people about the stakes of the coronavirus pandemic. That was at the beginning. As you note, we sometimes get numb to this and we forget it, but more than the population of San Francisco has died in the COVID pandemic, and the former president of the United States bears some responsibility for it, plain and simple. Some people will get mad I said that, but the former president of the United States bears responsibility for the size of that number, plain and simple. And let's connect the dots, because this is what's dangerous. A lot of people are going to say, there you go, the media is looking back at Trump again. So the president of the United States put his reelection, he valued that more than American lives, more than the public safety, the public health of the American people. And this is important, people around him helped him, right? That same former president then valued holding on to power more than the democratically elected results of the presidential election, and the people around him helped him. That is an autocrat, a dangerous autocrat who is hurting his country and using his power for him, not for you and me and everybody watching.